Hi, good day to you all. My name is Peiris. My student ID is 800026325. Today I'm focusing on MGT502, the Assessment 3 Exemplary Business Communication. The topic is the business communication in Australia and MS Teams. To introduce with, first, I'm going to talk about what is an exemplary business presentation, and then I'm going to the aspects of the effective presentation skills. Then the how do we present the successful presentation. Then what are the technology actually behind this the communication, the business communications that we have right now in the today's world. And finally, the use of presentation in the business environment. Here I'm going to address the first question, how exemplary business presentation looks like. The first thing I'm going to address is how do we match to the target audience. The first thing we need to know is the identify your audience through the thought process, how they get your ideas and how they think of. The the other thing is make an incredible impression by motivating and emotionally connecting them. And the other thing is by making boring topic interesting. How do we do those things? We are going to talk about later. So the second one is about the make it simple. As Steve Jobs once said that the simple can be harder than complex. So why? So first thing is appropriate number of slides. It should be not more than that, not less than that. So the simple language, how do we use simple language onto that? And the other one is uh, some people they do skip some slides. That is not a good idea. So the other thing is do not go back and forth with the, that is, it gives the audience that they are not organized well. The third one is about the support the story with known examples. That is, how do we keep the audience engaging? And finally, the power of visuals. That is, we need leave something with the audience to remember. That is how we do by putting those examples and visuals. Secondly, the characteristics of effectiveness. The first thing I want to brought up is the simple understanding. As I said earlier, the technical terms has to be minimized, and then there should be a smooth flow of the presentation. And the second one is in the impression, nonverbal communication. So the facial expression, it gives the maybe the posture, gesture, or the tone of the delivery, and they are giving the good message to the audience, and that is also essential. Then thirdly, the interesting and motivating. So how do we keep our audience listening and interacting, and how do we leave them on the edge of the seats? So that is the most important thing that we need to think about. And then the create a credibility. How do we create a credibility? We need to get the examples from our business, and we need to leave them, sorry, we need to leave them, um, we need to leave those figures there, then the credibility will build up. Yeah. Thirdly, what affects the outcome of effective presentation? First thing is the poor delivery of the presentation. Maybe they can't hear what you say. Maybe something like that. Maybe a lack of trustworthiness of the facts and figures that you give. The second one is complex to digest. If it is very hard to understand, then it's not a good presentation. The third one is the not centric to the audience. Maybe the wrong audience selection, or maybe the audience is multidisciplinary. The lack of visual support and example, it gives them to understand very well the presentation. And fourth is the fifth is too long to concentrate. A normal person can concentrate 10 minutes as a stretch. So it gives it gives the feeling that you need to break the ice in between, maybe tell a story or something interesting. So if you don't do those things, the waste it's a waste of time, actually, the waste of time of both parties. Fourthly, I'm going to talk about how the technology improves the business communication. So I have divided this one into software side as well as hardware side. First, I'm going with the software, the effective presentation and speech tools. It's like the presentation, that PowerPoint presentation that we are doing here, the multimedia, the clips and photos, the data and analysis into the presentation, so we can put everything in there. The second one is well-known digital communication platforms, like well known in the sense it's widespread, so everybody has, both parties has the same thing. So that is, if you can do it by in between departments communication, business to business communication, business to client communication, everything is possible right now. The MS, for an example, MS Teams, Zoom, emails and other messaging apps, WhatsApp, WeChat, Messenger, Viber, whatever it is. The third one is the digital file sharing. So today, the most of the files have become digitalized, so because of that, its sharing is very easy for us. There are some software like Dropbox and OneDrive, things like that. On the hardware side, PCs, phones and tabs, all these devices are very common, and it facilitates the business communication. It's very common, everybody has this, so that is why the flexibility is there for us. And the data storage systems, data storage are actually very cheap right now. So starting from your phone, you have data storage inside, and if you take the PC to the mainframe computer, the data storage, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but it's very cheap due to these days, and because of that, you can use that one. The audio systems, that is the very important thing I need to bring up uh, in a seminar or maybe webinar. If it is an audience, if the audience cannot hear what you say, it's a waste of time for both parties. So that is why we need to see the reason why I'm using, and I'm using this reason I'm using this mic is also because of the same reason. The final one is the global positioning system. So for an example, the fleet tracking of an organization, or maybe the prevent of theft, we use GPS systems today. Those are the communication systems that I can see in today's world. The final question is about the use of business presentation in the business communication. The first one is feedback. In this one, we can show the understanding by giving the feedback. The status report of the project can be taken as an example. The performance review is like in the sales review, we are giving the performance we are against the budget. And the negotiation side, the convince a new project, or like if you can want to convince management about the new project with the ROI and showing everything, so that you can convince the management to take over or proceed with the project like that. To conclude, the presentations are very vital in the business and academic communication. The key message I can give you is the success of the presentation depends on how much the information the audience can take home. That is what we give is successful. This is my references. Thank you for listening.